Thank you very much, Bishop. Maya, all the members of the family and honorees. Bishop, I thank you for many things, but especially for the decades of guidance and genuine friendship you gave to Elijah. It is true that almost exactly 21 years ago, he invited me to New Psalmist on the Sunday before the election. And I remember, I loved that you introduced the staff, because we'd all be dead without the people that are helping us. But if you're president, your staff is always trying to tell you why you shouldn't do something or you shouldn't go somewhere. I remember this very well. They said, it's Tuesday, Sunday before the election. Why would you go? I get why you want to go to an African-American church, but why would you go to Baltimore? I mean, come on. They're so good to you. They always vote for you. And why would you go for Elijah Cummings? He's been in the House 15 minutes. He literally hadn't finished one term yet. I said, I just got a feeling this is something we ought to do. And if we do it, we'll know whether it was right or not. And so the bishop rolls out the red carpet. Thousands of people were there. And you may remember we got in some trouble, didn't we? We got in some trouble. People criticized us for having a get out the vote event in a church. They said it was inappropriate. And as I remember, Elijah reminded people that our constitutional rights, including the freedom of religion, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of speech, depended on people giving voice to them in elections. End of debate. Then, I got to listen to Elijah talk that day. You talk about a lousy deal. It was, I had to follow both the bishop and Elijah Cummings. And at least I'm getting in ahead of you and President Obama today. In my old age, I'm the warm-up act. I'm glad to do it. Anyway, Elijah was great. And he ended with his quiet and reasoned and rhythmic voice growing into his booming voice by quoting that wonderful verse from the 40th chapter of Isaiah. They who wait upon the Lord will have their strength renewed. They will round up with wings as eagles. They will run and not go weary. They will walk and faint not. And he just kept doing more and more. The crowd was going crazy. Over the course of these last few days, I've had the chance to think a lot about Elijah's life. He really did sort of mirror Isaiah, who had one of the greatest one-liners in the history of human affairs. When the Lord asked, whom shall I send and who will go for me? Isaiah said, here am I, Lord, send me. Elijah Cummings spent a whole life saying, send me. An entire lifetime. He's not even a teenager when he hauls down to the swimming pool and joins a group to integrate it. and for his trouble gets banged on the head with a glass bottle, leaving him a lifetime scar, which he bore with honor. And then the people of Baltimore sent him to Annapolis, and then you sent him to Washington. On behalf of the rest of the nation, I'd like to thank you. You did a good thing. And then I was looking over all the things that he worked on just in the 4 years we were together. He was elected the year I was reelected, in 1996. He had this amazing array of interests. But we all know now that at least until certain things happen, his legacy is how ardently he honored his oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. I think he did it for a lot of reasons. He loved the fact that his parents' humble lives made his a great American story. And he loved that it confirmed his faith, but he knew that without the Constitution, the laws that were passed under it, the rights that were guaranteed by it, and the abuses it was designed to prevent, without that Constitution, he would not have been in Congress. And so he said to himself, I am certain every day I will not let this promise be sullied. And he did his best. And while doing his best and fighting his heart out, sticking up for Hillary and lots of other people, many of whom were voiceless and weak and will never be known. While doing all that, he actually made, in one of the most partisan periods in our country's history, a lot of Republican friends. Why did he do that? How did he do that? I think he did it because everybody could see he was the real deal. He was doing what he believed. His heart was in it. And I think he did it because no matter how hard he fought and how passionately he argued, he tried to treat everybody the way he wanted to be treated, the way he thought America should be treated. You know, you can't run a free society if you have to hate everybody you disagree with. I mean, sooner or later, if you've been married 45 years and both of you are thinking, you're going to have a disagreement or two. Sooner or later, if you're in a business or a team or in a campaign and you're thinking, you're going to have disagreements. He believed that he should treat people the way he wanted to be treated. And he believed if everybody accepted his broad, endearing, inclusive definition of one America, where we respect our differences and think what we have in common matters more, and we all live under the same set of rules, and we all believe that under those rules, those of us who have more than we need should do more to help those who don't have enough, that everything would work out okay. Now, that's what he believed. And being friends, he was so proud that he could help resolve the personal spat between his Republican congressional friend and new member of the Democratic caucus. But he believed. So here's what I want to leave you with. Elijah spent his working life in the tradition of Isaiah. He went again and again and again. But I think in his lasting legacy to us, we should think again about the prophet Elisha for this reason. He was about to be killed for his ardent promotion of his faith. He hid in a cave, either within or next to Mount Sinai. He received a message from God to go up and stand on top of the mountain and wait for the voice of God to speak to him. So look, he'd already had a pretty hard time. Just like at the end of Elijah's life, he's already had a pretty hard time. You got to go through this too. So there's Elijah standing on the mountain, and a huge wind came, so strong it broke the rocks of the mountain. But the Lord was not in the wind. Then an earthquake came, shaking everything. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. Then the fire came. But the Lord was not in the fire. And then, what does the scripture say? A still, small voice. Elijah, by that point, had gotten rid of all the pomp, all the circumstance, all the glory for the still small voice. I love this man. I loved every minute I ever spent with him, every conversation we ever had. I loved his booming voice. But we should hear him now in the quiet times at night and in the morning when we need courage. When we get discouraged and we don't know if we can believe anymore, we should hear him. Let our Elisha be for us what he himself heard, a still small voice that keeps us going, keeps us grateful, keeps us happy, and keeps us moving. Thank you, and God bless you.